The first sound I hear is a fist slamming against glass. For a second, I think I'm dreaming. Then the second hit rattles the whole car. My eyes fly open, heart pounding. Red and blue lights strobe across the cracked windshield, slicing through the fogged-up glass like jagged blades of reality. "Step out of the vehicle!" someone shouts, their voice sharp and practiced. My stomach drops. I've been parked behind a Walmart for 3 nights now, running the engine every few hours to fight off the cold. I thought I was invisible here. Turns out I was just waiting to be found. I sit up, disoriented, tangled in a blanket that smells like gasoline and rain. My whole life is in this car. 2 plastic bins, 1 duffel bag, a box of legal documents I haven't had the courage to open. I glance at the dashboard clock. 3:12 a.m., the worst hour for bad news. I roll the window halfway down, blinking into the blinding flashlight beam. "Ma'am," the officer says, "you can't sleep here, and your registration's 6 months expired." I mumble an apology I've already used a dozen times before. It doesn't matter. A tow truck idles nearby, metal chains clinking like handcuffs. Within minutes, they're hooking my car. I beg them to wait, but rules are rules. I'm left, barefoot on cracked asphalt, watching my only shelter get dragged away like a dead animal. The air tastes like diesel and humiliation. My breath fogs in front of me. I dig through my pockets and come up with 87 cents in change. Not enough for a cup of coffee, not enough for a bus ride. That's when I hear the hum of another engine, a smoother, lower sound. A black sedan glides into the lot, moving like it doesn't belong here. The kind of car that costs more than I used to make in a year. It stops 10 feet from me. The driver's door opens and a man steps out. Navy suit, polished shoes that look allergic to dirt. He doesn't look at me like I'm homeless. He looks at me like I'm important. "Are you Ava Miller?" he asks. His tone is calm, deliberate. My throat is dry. "Yes," I manage. He nods once and opens a leather folder. Papers, embossed seals, my name printed in bold. "I'm Graham Kessler, attorney with Whitaker & Sons," he says. "I've been trying to locate you for 3 days." I squint at him through the flickering streetlight. "Why?" He studies me for a beat, then says a sentence that doesn't fit inside my world. "You've just inherited $80 million. For a second, I genuinely think I misheard him. Then I laugh, too loud, too bitter. "Right," I say, "and I'm the Queen of England." He doesn't laugh, doesn't even blink. He simply flips open the folder and slides out a document sealed with a red ribbon. My name, my birthday, my signature from a divorce decree I wish I could forget. He knows everything, every scar and paperwork form. "This has to be a mistake," I whisper. "Who would—" "Your benefactor insisted we tell you in person," he interrupts. "Who?" His eyes shift. He leans closer, lowering his voice. "Your ex-mother-in-law." I freeze. For a moment, the world seems to tilt. Evelyn Whitaker, the woman who called me a gold digger at her son's wedding, the woman who helped Noah hire lawyers to gut me in court, the woman who told me through a smirk that she'd make sure I left the marriage with nothing. Now she's left me $80 million? I stare at Graham. That's impossible. She hated me. He closes the folder, unbothered. She also had a flair for irony. He gestures toward the sedan. "Why don't you get in? There's a lot to discuss." Every instinct in my body screams, "Don't." But the cold cuts through my sweater, and the reality that I have nowhere else to go sinks deep. I open the back door and slide in. The car smells like leather and faint cologne. Too clean. Too quiet. As we pull out of the lot, I watch the tow truck disappear into the night with everything I owned. The contrast feels surreal. Homeless 1 minute, millionaire the next. Somewhere between the two, I stop breathing right. Graham drives in silence for a while. City lights flicker past, cheap motels, pawn shops, gas stations. "Why would she do this?" I finally ask. He exhales slowly. Evelyn Whitaker wasn't the woman you thought she was. She left behind contingencies. Contingencies? Conditions, technically. You'll learn soon. The word conditions echoes like a threat. My stomach tightens. Is Noah part of this? I ask, voice trembling. Graham's eyes meet mine in the rearview mirror. Noah doesn't know yet, but he will. The car stops at a red light. For a moment, the world outside holds still. The glowing convenience store sign, the rain on the windshield, the hum of the engine. I think about Evelyn's face the last time I saw her, standing in the courtroom hallway, watching as her son's lawyer took my house, my savings, and my name. Her smile had been polite, almost pitying. "You'll learn, Ava," she'd said. "Some lessons only come when you've lost everything." Maybe this was the lesson, or maybe it was a trap. I grip the leather seat as the sedan turns down a quiet street lined with empty offices. Graham finally speaks again, voice lower, steadier. "She left you the money for one reason," he says. "What reason?" He glances back, lips curling into something between a smile and a warning. "Because she knew you'd need a war chest." The car rolls to a stop in front of a tall, dark building with her name etched into the glass, Whitaker Trust and Holdings. My reflection stares back at me, tired, pale, terrified. I don't know whether I'm walking into salvation or a new kind of hell. But as the rain begins to fall again, one truth burns through the confusion. Whatever Evelyn Whitaker started isn't over. It's just begun. The office smells of leather and power, old money wrapped in silence. The walls are lined with polished wood panels, heavy enough to make you feel small, like a child wandering through a cathedral built for secrets. Graham Kessler sits behind, a glass desk that gleams like ice, a faint smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. He slides a sleek gray envelope across to me as if it's a gift, though his eyes say otherwise. "Read the terms before you celebrate," he says smoothly. I pull out the papers, the weight of the embossed letterhead making my hands tremble. Page 1, the Whitaker Trust, listing numbers that make my stomach twist, $80 million. 8 followed by zeros that look more like traps than blessings. Page 2, conditions. My pulse quickens as I read. Condition 1, I must take ownership of a specific property, the Whitaker residence in my old neighborhood, the same house where the HOA once fined me $300 because my trash can sat on the curb for 1 hour too long. Condition 2, I must attend the probate hearing next Tuesday. Condition 3, I must not, under any circumstances, contact my ex-husband, Noah Whitaker. And finally, Condition 4, I must sign the trust document today before midnight. No lawyers of my own, no revisions, no second opinions. I look up. Why me? Why these rules? Graham folds his manicured hands, eyes cold and unreadable. Because Evelyn believed you were the only one who wouldn't sell your soul. She admired that. I almost laugh. The same woman who called. Mia Parasite admired me, he shrugs, offering a tight professional smile. People have layers, Ms. Miller. Before I can press further, the office door swings open with the weight of an uninvited storm. My ex-husband walks in. Noah. Perfectly pressed suit, new Rolex gleaming, the same smug expression that used to make my skin crawl. Congratulations, Ava, he says, his voice soaked in venomous charm. Half of that is mine. The air in the room thickens. He drops a crisp document on Graham's desk. You signed this. I stare at it, a prenup, my supposed signature at the bottom, except I never signed one. We married fast, too fast for lawyers or forms. My name curves across the page in a way that looks almost right, but I know my own hand. And then I see it, the notary's name printed beneath. My breath catches. This notary died 2 years before our wedding. Graham's jaw clenches. We'll contest this, he says. But Noah only leans forward, his voice lowering into something colder than hate. Contest all you want, but you and I both know you won't live to spend it. He taps the table twice, collects his coat, and walks out, leaving the scent of expensive cologne and danger behind him. For a long moment, neither of us speaks. The silence hums with electricity. Graham clears his throat, feigning calm. "He's bluffing," he says. But his tone doesn't match the words. His fingers tap against the desk, measured, deliberate, like he's thinking too hard. When I leave the office that night, a gray SUV slides into my rearview mirror. At first, I assume it's coincidence. Then it turns when I turn, stops when I stop. I take 3 random exits, loop back around, and it's still there. I speed up. It keeps pace. My heart drums like a war call. Finally, I pull into a crowded gas station, pretending to check my tire. The SUV idles at the far end of the lot, headlights off. My phone buzzes. A message from an unknown number. "Don't go home." Except I don't have a home anymore. Not since the eviction. But I have one place left. My storage unit. By the time I reach it, the night has swallowed the city whole. I unlock the metal door and flick on the weak overhead light. Dust dances in the air like ghosts. My life stares back at me in boxes labeled kitchen, legal, wedding. I tear through them, searching for I don't know what, some clue, some piece of myself worth keeping. Then I see it. A manila envelope wedged between an old lamp and my wedding album. No label, no handwriting. Just sitting there like it's been waiting. My fingers shake as I open it. Inside, one thing. A small black thumb drive. On its side, in faded ink, Whittaker Huh. The HOA. The same neighborhood board that had fined, bullied, and humiliated me out of my own home. I grab my keys and head back to Graham's office, my instincts screaming but curiosity dragging me forward. By the time I get there, the lobby is dark, but the door to his office still clicks open. I slide into his chair, plug the drive into his computer, and hold my breath. The screen fills with folders, kickbacks, laundering, judge dinners, and one more file buried beneath the rest. Noah Kessler.M4A Kessler, Graham's last name. My chest tightens. I click play. Noah's voice comes through first, smooth, confident, dripping with arrogance. "She'll sign anything if she's desperate." A pause. Then Graham's voice, unmistakable. "We dangle the inheritance, then we take it." My stomach turns. The words echo like gunshots in my head. The man who claimed to represent me, the one who brought me this so-called miracle, is working with the man who destroyed my life. A soft click behind me makes my blood run cold. The office door has locked. I spin around. Graham stands there holding his phone, the glow of the screen lighting his face. His expression is unreadable. Calm. I see now that it's the same calm Noah had. The calm of a man who thinks he's already won. "I told you not to open that," he says quietly. My throat tightens. "Why?" He takes a slow step closer, his shadow swallowing the light from the monitor. "Because now you know who really hired me." The computer screen reflects in his eyes, my face, pale and terrified, mirrored in the glow of their betrayal. And for the first time since this all began, I realized the inheritance wasn't a gift. It was bait, and I've already bitten. The courthouse feels less like a place of justice and more like a theater, and I am tonight's unwilling performer. The air is heavy with perfume, paper, and quiet judgment. Every seat behind me is filled with strangers pretending not to stare. The judge, Honorable Ramirez, sits high above, his eyes like glass marbles fixed on me, watching the way a hawk might watch a mouse before it decides to strike. My palms are slick. My heart thrums so loud I can almost hear it echo off the marble walls. Across the aisle sits Noah, my ex-husband, smug, rested, confident. He leans back in his chair like he owns the courtroom, like this is a rerun of a show where he already knows the ending. Next to him sits Graham Kessler. My stomach knots at the sight. He's traded sides. No hesitation, no shame, just a new tie and a colder expression. He doesn't even look at me. "The court will now review the Whittaker Trust," Judge Ramirez says, his tone smooth, almost bored. Noah's attorney, a man with hair too perfect to be honest, stands. "Your Honor, my client moves to enforce the prenuptial agreement signed by Mrs. Ava Miller during her marriage to Mr. Whittaker." Every whisper in the room seems to turn toward me. I rise slowly. "Your Honor," I say, forcing my voice steady, That document is fraudulent. The notary who supposedly witnessed it died 2 years before the signing date. A ripple of murmurs flows through the courtroom. The judge raises a hand to silence them, his gaze sharpening. "Evidence?" he asks. I slide a folder across the table. The notary's obituary, printed and highlighted. Then I pull another page from my file and place it on top. The transcript of the audio file I found. Noah Kessler.m4a. Noah's expression falters. The blood drains from his face, but Graham remains perfectly still, his jaw tightening slightly. He leans forward and whispers something to the judge that I can't hear. The judge's eyes flicker toward me, then toward the bailiff, then back again. Something unspoken passes between them, something that doesn't feel right. Authentication? The judge asks finally, his tone clipped. "It was recovered from my storage unit," I reply. "Under lock, 3-digit code, time-stamped, metadata intact." He tilts his head slightly. 3 digits? His tone drips with quiet amusement, as if my security measures are a joke. He bangs the gavel once. This court will recess for 20 minutes. My knees almost buckle with relief. I gather my things and head toward the hallway. The moment I step outside, a woman bumps hard into my shoulder. My instinct is to snap at her, but before I can speak, she slips something into my hand, a folded note. I unfold it slowly, shielding it from view. 6 words in shaky handwriting: "Don't trust the judge." Basement now. Every rational part of me screams to throw the note away. But the way Graham and the judge exchanged glances, something about it crawls under my skin. Against all better judgment, I follow. The basement of the courthouse smells like bleach, dust, and things that shouldn't be remembered. Flickering fluorescent lights buzz overhead. A figure stands in the far corner, half hidden in shadow. She wears a barista apron, her hair tied in a messy bun. When she turns, I recognize her instantly. The woman who makes my coffee every morning at the cafe on 6th Street.
"June?" I whisper. She nods, eyes darting to the staircase behind me.
"You don't have much time," she says. "I used to work for the Whitaker family office." The air seems to vanish from the room. "You what?" June pulls out her phone and opens a video file. "I found this before they wiped the servers." She hands it to me. The screen glows to life. Evelyn Whitaker's face fills the frame, pale, frail, but unmistakably alive, recorded just days before her death. Her voice trembles but never breaks. "If you're seeing this, Ava," Evelyn says, "I'm gone. The money isn't a gift. It's a weapon. Use it to expose them." My hand shakes. "Expose who?" I whisper. June's voice cracks. "The HOA, the judge, the Kessler firm. They're all part of it. The Whitaker Homeowners Association isn't just a board, it's a laundering pipeline. Your divorce, your eviction, even your car repossession, it was all planned. They were trying to break you so you'd sell the house. The land your old home sits on hides something much bigger, a fiber optic trunk leased secretly to a data brokerage company. It's worth hundreds of millions, and they've been siphoning money through it for years. I can barely breathe." "That's insane," she nods grimly. Evelyn found out. She knew they'd come after her if she spoke out, so she used the inheritance to bait them, through you. I stumble back, my mind spinning. Why would she help me? She hated me. June looks down at my wrist, where the hospital bracelet had once left a faint scar. "You donated blood at St. Martin's Hospital 2 years ago. It went to her during surgery. You saved her life and she found out your name. She started watching you. When she saw what her family did to you, she decided you were the only one who could finish what she couldn't." The pounding of footsteps echoes above us, the session resuming. June grabs my hand. "You need to go. Don't let them silence you." We race up the stairs. The moment I push through the courtroom doors, time slows. A laser dot dances across my chest. My breath catches. Then, gunfire glass explodes. People scream. The sound shatters through my skull like thunder. I feel something slam into me, maybe a body, maybe the floor, and everything goes black. Somewhere in the darkness, a voice cuts through, calm and chilling. "Don't let her die yet. We still need her to sign." When I wake, everything feels distant, like the world is speaking from underwater. The ceiling above me glows white. A soft beeping rhythm pulls me back to consciousness. Hospital. I blink until the blur fades. My left arm is bandaged, IV taped in place. The smell of antiseptic hangs thick in the air. June sits beside me, eyes swollen from crying, fingers gripping a styrofoam coffee cup like it's keeping her alive. When she notices me stirring, she exhales a shaky laugh. "You were lucky," she whispers. "The bullet hit the door frame. You fainted. Shock took you down before the chaos did. Lucky. The word tastes wrong. Nothing about this feels like luck." My phone lies on the tray table beside me, buzzing quietly under a mess of notifications. Missed calls. Unknown numbers. Texts piling up like bad omens. I scroll through them and my stomach knots tighter with each line. One from Noah. "Let's make a deal." Another from Graham. "You sign, you survive." Then one that makes my blood freeze. A message from a contact I never saved but somehow appears as Evelyn. "Look at the jacket." The jacket. The same thrift store coat I'd been sleeping in inside my car the night Graham found me. I frown, confused, and reach for it, hanging from the back of the chair. My fingers trace the inside seam, feeling a rough patch of thread. Something sewn into the lining. I grab a pair of medical scissors from the counter, snip the stitches, and pull out a folded, time-worn letter. The handwriting is unmistakable, sharp, slanted, and steady. Evelyn Whitaker's. "Ava, if they've turned you into prey, make yourself a hunter. There is a second will. Not in the courthouse. Not on paper. Inside the house they forced you out of. Bedroom closet. Ceiling vent. You'll find the deed to a Delaware LLC that sits on top of the trust. Whoever holds the LLC controls the trustee. Whoever controls the trustee controls me, even after death. Find it before they do. And one more thing, check the birth certificate locked with it." On my heart thunders so loud I almost can't hear the machines around me. A second will. An LLC. A hidden control clause that overrides the official trust. Evelyn hadn't just left me money. She'd left me a weapon. June reads the letter over my shoulder, her lips parting in disbelief. "They'll be waiting at the house," she says quietly. I nod, sliding the letter into my pocket. Good. Let them. We leave the hospital past midnight. I can still feel the pain in my ribs, but adrenaline does what painkillers can't. It keeps me moving. The city outside is sleeping, but the Whitaker neighborhood never really rests. Every driveway glistens, every lawn perfect, every porch light timed to turn off at the same minute. Perfection, like poison disguised as perfume. We slip through the side gate of my old house. The lemon tree I planted years ago still stands, heavy with fruit. For a moment I remember the sound of laughter, of what it felt like to believe in home. Then I remember Noah's lawyers throwing my boxes into the street, and the warmth turns to ash. Inside, the house smells faintly of dust and the ghost of furniture long gone. We move quietly through the dark hallways until we reach the bedroom. The ceiling vent stares down at us like an eye. I drag a chair under it, climb up, and start unscrewing the cover with trembling fingers. My hand disappears into the darkness of the vent until my fingertips brush against something cold and metallic. A tin box slides free. Dust coats its lid. I set it on the bed and open it slowly. Inside, 4 things: a small key, a USB drive, a birth certificate, and a Delaware LLC certificate. My pulse spikes as I read the name printed in black ink. Avery Whitaker Miller. Avery. Not Ava. I grab the birth certificate next. My eyes dart over the details. Mother, Julia Miller. Father, redacted. My throat tightens. But the redaction isn't printed. It's a strip of removable tape. I peel it back. Underneath, typed in faded ink, Father, Henry Whitaker. I stumble backward, the paper trembling in my hands. Henry Whitaker, Evelyn's husband. Noah's father. The room spins. The realization crashes over me like a tidal wave. Noah isn't just my ex-husband. He's my stepbrother by marriage, not by blood. Our entire relationship, our marriage, our divorce, the betrayal, was a construct, engineered to erase the truth that I was the legitimate heir to the Whitaker fortune. They married me into their bloodline just to destroy my claim from the inside. The inheritance wasn't meant to save me. It was meant to bait me into exposing the truth. Before I can say anything, the sound of engines cuts through the night. Headlights sweep across the windows, flooding the room in pale light. Doors slam. June freezes beside me. We both know that rhythm. It's not neighbors. It's them. Graham's silhouette appears in the doorway, flanked by 3 men in suits. He looks exhausted, but his smirk remains intact. His tie hangs loose, his gun low at his side. "Give me the tin, Ava," he says softly, almost kindly. "You're not built for this. Let the grown-ups handle it." I grip the box tighter. "It's over," he chuckles, tilting his head. "No, this is the part where you choose. Money or oxygen," June whispers from behind me. "Stall him." I raise my phone, thumb trembling over the screen, and hit play. The air fills with the voices from Noah Kessler.M4A. Noah's mocking laughter, Graham's calm betrayal. The sound bounces off the walls, impossible to ignore. Graham's smile falters. His men exchange uneasy glances. Then, faint at first, but growing louder, sirens. "Getting closer, FBI?" June whispers. Graham's gun lifts. "No more games, Ava." Before he can pull the trigger, a single gunshot cracks through the air. Graham jerks back, clutching his shoulder, collapsing onto the tiles. The men scatter. From the hedges outside, a shadow steps forward, steady and calm, a badge glinting in the flashlight beam. A voice, cool and commanding, cuts through the chaos. "Drop it. It's over." The night explodes with sirens and flashing blue light, but all I can hear is my heartbeat, heavy, ragged, real. Special Agent Mariah Cole steps out from the hedges, her FBI badge glinting under the porch light. She moves like a storm contained inside a calm body. "FBI Public Corruption Unit," she says firmly, scanning the chaos. "We've been listening for 6 months. Ever since your eviction, Ms. Miller." June exhales like she's been holding her breath for a lifetime. Agents flood the yard, shouting commands, cuffing men who once thought they owned the neighborhood. Graham Kessler kneels on the ground, blood soaking through his sleeve, pride leaking out with it. Noah emerges from the patio, hands trembling, face ghost pale. For once he looks small, powerless, exactly what he made me feel for years. Agent Cole turns toward me. "Ms. Miller," she pauses, then corrects herself, "Ms. Whitaker." The name slices the air clean. She hands me an FBI-issued phone. "You should see this. On the screen is a video file time-stamped 2 days ago." I hit play. Evelyn Whitaker appears, lying in a hospital bed, framed by soft light and the steady beeping of machines. She looks fragile, but her eyes, those sharp, unyielding eyes, still burn with control. "If the FBI is with you," she begins, her voice calm, "then you found what I hid. Good. Listen carefully." I grip the phone tighter as she continues. "I married a king who built an empire out of other people's homes." The HOA was a bank. The judges were locks. The lawyers, keys. We manufactured divorces to crush women who refused to sell or obey. Her tone falters for the first time. "I saw what they did to you, Ava, and for the first time, I saw what I had become. Then I saw your hospital file, and Henry's." My chest tightens at the sound of his name. She inhales weakly. "Henry had an affair? With your mother. You were the result. He paid to have the records sealed. I never had the courage to be your mother, but I had the decency to be your shield. I left you $80 million not for comfort, but for war, for truth, for lawyers, for ammunition made of affidavits. If you take the money, you take the mission. Burn the house down. Metaphorically. Testify. Rip the trunk from the earth and show the world what we buried inside it." Her voice cracks as tears glisten in her eyes. "And one last thing, Ava. Don't forgive me." The video ends. The yard is silent except for the low hum of the pool filter and the distant drone of approaching helicopters. Agent Cole looks at me steadily. "We can lock this up today if you're willing to testify." Noah's voice breaks the silence. He steps forward, desperate now. "Ava, don't do this." "We can fix it. We can split everything. Start over somewhere else." June's hand lands gently on my shoulder. "You already disappeared once, Ava. They made sure of it. Don't let them erase you again." I look at the tin box still clutched in my hand. The key, the USB, the birth certificate, the LLC papers. My inheritance isn't money. It's proof. And for the first time, I understand what Evelyn meant. Wealth without justice is just another form of rot. I take a deep breath and hand the box to Agent Cole. "I'll testify." The sirens wail louder, echoing my choice. Red and blue lights splash across the lemon tree, the same tree that once marked the edge of my old life. The agents load evidence into bags, the men in suits are led away, and the night finally exhales. 3 months later, I sit in a federal courtroom that smells of disinfectant and history. Graham sits shackled in an orange jumpsuit. Judge Ramirez, once untouchable, now stands before a bailiff, wrists cuffed. A line of HOA presidents, polished men with expensive watches, stare at the floor like schoolboys caught cheating. When it's my turn, I walk to the stand. My voice doesn't shake. I tell the story, from the knock on the car window to the moment the FBI badge appeared under the hedges. I describe the trust, the second will, the recordings, the drive, the money trail buried under polished lawns and marble countertops. I hand over everything, the LLC certificate, the birth certificate, the audio, the video. Every secret Evelyn buried, every lie they sold as law. I expect chaos. I expect gasps. Instead, when I finish, the judge only says, "Motion accepted." The gavel hits wood with a single, quiet thud that sounds like a door closing forever. Outside, the press waits. Cameras flash. A reporter shouts, "How does it feel to be an $80 million heiress?" I pause, the wind tugging at my hair. "It feels like evidence," I answer. That night, I return to my motel, the same one I'd stayed in when all this began. On the pillow lies a cream-colored envelope. No return address, no handwriting except for 2 initials pressed into the flap. EW inside is a note written in Evelyn's sharp, deliberate script. "Ava, this part is from me, not the trust. I sold the Whitaker jet. Enclosed is a cashier's check you can spend without strings. Buy your car back. Get an apartment. Plant a lemon tree on a balcony somewhere the HOA can't reach." I flip the page. On the back, written faintly in pencil, is another line. "When you're ready, go to Boone Island Light. Maine, sunset. One person will be there to tell you what Henry couldn't." I go. The lighthouse stands tall against the horizon, its beam sweeping across a sky painted in gold and salt. Wind whips my hair as waves crash against the rocks below. A figure stands at the edge of the cliffs, his back to me. When he turns, the world stills. I recognize him from old photographs, from magazine covers, from my own reflection. Henry Whitaker. Alive. Thin, gray, eyes heavy with regret. "I asked Evelyn for one thing," he says softly. "To give you the money only if you chose justice first." Tears sting my eyes. He steps closer, voice breaking. "I didn't deserve a daughter. I just hoped to earn a witness. The truth lands heavy. The inheritance was never wealth. It was a test, a mirror, a lie detector that revealed who I truly was." I take his trembling hand, not as a daughter, but as someone ready to end the story that began long before me. As the sun sinks into the sea, I whisper to the wind, to Evelyn, to every woman who ever slept in her car while the rich built fences around justice. I won't spend the money to quiet the story. I'll spend it to finish it. Months later, a new sign hangs over a small building that once housed the Whitaker HOA. The words gleam in bronze, Whitaker Justice Center. Beneath it, taped in June's messy handwriting, a note reads, "For every woman who got a knock on the window."